Welcome to Knicksfandom. This is an independent New York Knicks fan-based podcast, which was created by fans for fans. The show is hosted by Blackwell, Danny, and Flau. They'll discuss the issues surrounding the Knicks, the NBA, and various other sports-related topics. Join us. It's going to be a heck of a ride.
Hey everyone, it's that time again. Please join us for the next 40 minutes or so while we talk about the New York Knicks, the NBA, or anything else that might come to our minds. This is episode 5 of our podcast known as Knicksfandom. Knicksfandom is a fan-based podcast that is presented in a multi-hosted format by fellow Knicks fans and for Knicks fans in particular, as well as NBA fans in general. But a few major housekeeping issues we got to take care of first. We're starting to see some real good reviews and comments, people. Thank you very much. Just like the Knicks, we're trying to reach the top as well. Therefore, please continue to subscribe, share, and give a positive review to the podcast when you have the chance. It will allow us to continue to move up in rankings as we continue to steadily improve our show, particularly in iTunes. You can find links to our show, Knicksfandom, as I stated earlier, on iTunes, Spreaker.com, and Stitcher.com. You can also find links to our show on our Facebook fan page, which is also known as Knicksfandom, which contains links to our podcasts, blogs, and other Knicks-related items. This is also an independent podcast that is not officially affiliated with the New York Knicks at this point and or time. Excuse me. I'm your host, L.A. Blackwell, and I'm glad to be joined by one of my fellow co-hosts, Flau. How's everything? How you been?
I'm good, L.A. How you doing today, man?
Doing real well, man. Real well. I'm also joined by my major regular co-host, Danny D. It's great to be back. How's everything with you, D?
I'm good, man. L.A., how's everything, man?
I'm good. How was the holidays, fellas? How was the holidays?
It was good, man. A lot of turkey, man.
I hear you. Well, how about you, Flo?
It was all right, man. Real quiet, but not bad.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. And okay, very good. Here we go, people. You know what time it is. It's time for tip-off. As we always state, tip-off is just a short segment where each one is allowed to speak about a particular topic that we've been thinking about on an individual basis that we may discuss in a group format. It pertains to NBA topic or sports-related topic, or anything interesting we might find in turn that we think the listener might find interesting as well. Start us off this week, Flo. Do you find anything that you'd like to discuss in regards to our tip-off segment?
Definitely, L.A. The funniest thing is, believe it or not, I have here I have 3 trade rumors.
Okay. That's a lot.
The first one I heard was the Miami Heat would trade Hassan Whiteside to the New Orleans Hornets. I'm sorry, to the New Orleans Pelicans. I apologize. For center Omer Sheik, power forward Terrence Jones, shooting guard Buddy Hield, and a 2017 first-round draft pick. The thing I don't understand with this trade rumor, supposedly, is that the money doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Salary-wise. What is your take on this proposed trade rumor, guys?
What's the money issue? On which side doesn't make sense? Just in general, or is one side trying to give too much cash versus the other side?
Hassan Whiteside is making way too much money.
Yeah, you got that new contract.
Exactly.
But can they even trade him since they just signed him this year? Isn't it like they have to wait a little bit before they can trade him? I think.
Yeah, you got to wait till December 15.
Okay.
But that's why I don't understand why this trade rumor has been going off crazy, pretty much in the last 3 hours or so.
And what's the main play they're getting back again?
They get the Miami Heat will be getting center Omer Sheik, power forward Terrence Jones, shooting guard rookie Buddy Hield, and a 2017 first-round draft pick.
Okay, I got my idea about it. What you think, D?
That's a little good move though. If the pieces can work together, you have the Brow and you got Hassim. You know what I'm saying? Whiteside a good tandem. Twin towers out on the West Coast. But I don't think it's gonna work out though. But that's a good look for the Pelicans though. If they get this through, but they'll be way over the cap though.
Yeah, that's the same thing I'm thinking. And I think I don't really like it for the Heat though. I think it's a lot of pieces, but you're not really getting nothing major back. I mean, you're not going to get that great a pick with that team once it gets together. I don't think so. I don't really like it for the Heat. You're putting a lot of money into 2 players. I guess you're building from top down with that type of team. I can see that working for the Pelicans, but I'm not a big fan of it for the Heat. What you think about it, Flo?
Like you mentioned a couple seconds ago, I think this is a great trade for New Orleans because you add another young building piece with the unibrow Anthony Davis and with Drew Holiday. So it's a great trade for New Orleans. But on the Miami side, it doesn't make any sense for them whatsoever. I can see Miami making a trade, but I don't see no moving Hassan Whiteside. I can see Miami probably moving their point guard Gordon Dragic. I can see that happening, but not Whiteside. That doesn't make any sense. But only reason I can see Miami pulling this trade only because Whiteside is a little bit older, and you got to remember, by the time Justice Winslow and Tyler Johnson, as they continue to develop, Whiteside will be real, closing on his prime, So I can see Miami pulling this trade, but at the same time, it still doesn't make any sense for Miami. It's a lose-lose for them overall. They're just better off trading their point guard, Gordon Dragic, instead of Whiteside.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, Flo. I would just wait, like you said, find with Dragic, and also to see what happened with Bosch. You still haven't completed what's going to go, which way it's going to go in that direction, whether you're going to keep him, whether you're going to try to get the injury exception, or what's going to happen. From what I hear, they're going to release him. So to me, I'll just wait and see if you can take that big salary spot and try to add another piece with Whiteside. If that's the way I would go. That's the way I would go right now. You go on that trade. Anything else with that trade, or what's the second trade you have, Flo?
The second trade rumor I've been hearing, supposedly the Minnesota Timberwolves coach and president of basketball operations, Tom Thibodeau, he's looking to, acquire his old Chicago Bulls players. The trade rumor I've been hearing lately is Taj Gibson to Minnesota for Cole Aldridge, former Knick backup center, Gorgie Dang, the starting center for Minnesota T-Wolves, and also backup power forward Jordan Hill.
Right. Yeah, that was my hot topic for today. Was the Minnesota Timberwolves as well. So that's the one I saw. That's your man Tom Thibodeau. But you knew he's going to try to make a move with the teams not coming out as well you thought they would do. They're basically 4-10 right now. They're a little bit playing under expectations. And Tom Thibodeau's a veteran coach. He really doesn't want to rebuild but so long. So I can understand most coaches when they come back, they like to do that. Add one or two players they really know about, and Butler. I also heard Jimmy Butler may be getting traded, or he may try to go after him. I'm not really a big fan of doing that right now. I think these guys are young. You really want to see what they can do first, and I wouldn't do that for Luau Deng. That's the other part of the trade I heard. Basically, he's making 4 years at $72 million. I'm not touching that right now with his age and everything. Gibson, I don't have so much of issue. There's only 1 year left on his contract for about $9 million. But I'd rather wait. If I was going to trade somebody, I would trade Rubio and see if you could bring the rookie up and let him take that spot and see what you get for Rubio and maybe a draft pick to get a vet in there. But I wouldn't want to trade Levine or one of the solid rookie core with Towns or with Wiggins. How about you, Danny D?
Yeah, Tom tell Thibodeau, relax, man. You just got there, bro. You're not gonna get fired yet. You're not gonna get fired yet. These boys are young. You know what I'm saying? They got
GM,
yeah,
right?
Rubio, yeah, he the GM. You got both. You in Minnesota. You're not supposed to win now. You know what I'm saying? Take your time. I'm still mad that Rubio is still there. How is this still guy has a job as a point guard and starting in the league? How?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
He's not
They
really
got rid of my
progressing.
man Johnny Flynn for Rubio.
Mm-hmm.
And this is take your time. There's a young core. Give them time to gel, man. You're going to be looking like Oklahoma. That's what they're going to end up looking like.
That's true. You don't want to make that move way too fast. You see what that guy done? Still trying to recover. One of the worst trades ever, but I digress. I'll start a whole nother topic over. That'd be a new hot topic. Talking about they shouldn't even be in this situation right now. Harden's killing it right now too. How about you, Flo? What you think about that trade or potential trade?
Well, to be honest with you, looking at this, I mean, for Chicago, it's a win-win for them, but for Minnesota, it doesn't make any sense because pretty much, you're giving up a lot of your depth on your team just to acquire, a power forward in Taj Gibson. Don't get me wrong, Taj Gibson is a good basketball player, but Is he the type of player where you make that trade where he can change direction of the franchise? I doubt it.
No.
I really doubt it. He's averaging 12 points, 8 rebounds a night. I just don't. I don't see Minnesota. I don't see how it benefits Minnesota. This trade would benefit more Chicago. Chicago would love to get some players back and build their depth, and that depth will allow them to hopefully potentially continue to build a playoff team surrounded by Jimmy Butler, Dwayne Wade, Rajon Rondo, pretty much.
No, I definitely agree with you. I should say. I mean, I understand because you only had 3 players has a over 20 basic player efficiency rating. That's one thing they're really going by. They really want a vet that he can, run things through because the rookies are having their little ups and downs sometimes, other than Towns, who's been pretty consistent. But like I said, I would do it with Rubio and maybe a draft pick, but the main other piece, I would definitely wait it out and see, just let them mature, like D said, see what can happen with that. And basically, what's your third trade for your hot topic, Flo?
This is another crazy trade again. Minnesota once again moving Karl Anthony Towns to the Los Angeles Lakers for a player you mentioned, former Chicago Bull Luol Deng, point guard former Knick Jose Calderon, and Lakers first round draft pick this year, small forward Brandon Ingram. This trade doesn't make no sense whatsoever in my opinion, whatsoever.
What's the first part of it?
It's Karl Anthony Towns, Cat, going to the Los Angeles Lakers for former Chicago Bulls small forward Luol Deng, point guard Jose Calderon, and former Knick, and small forward the Lakers first round draft pick this year, Brandon Ingram.
Well, that's your dude right there, Danny. That's your man, Jose Calderon, right there.
Oh man, stop it! Oh man, stop it! Another person I don't know how this guy still has a job too.
I know. Being facetious, people. That's one of the main people he disliked on the Knicks. So I thought actually had a little bit left in the tank. Didn't realize he was done. But that's how it goes sometimes. What you think about that, Danny D?
Nah, man, Cat, this dude, rookie of the year. I'm not letting him go. He's a bona fide 7-footer, and he's getting busy. Not for no Luol Deng, who's old.
All right.
Jose Calderon, no, I plead the fifth. I'm not even gonna discuss him. And but I know the young boy Brandon Ingram, he just got drafted, but now Cat, he's getting busy down in Minnesota. Gotta stay put. I'm not letting him go.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm a big Brandon Ingram fan, but just right now, I would be very hesitant to do that deal. Even from the Lakers, I'd be hesitant to do that deal right now. I feel like wait and see what this guy can do. You draft him for a reason, and you really don't need I mean, it's good to have a player like Towns, but right now I would take the chance. You really need some more scoring with that team. So I think that's the way I would go. I would rather stay pat and just wait it out a year or so, and then see where you're standing. I'm sure this trade could be revisited if they're both end up being a place we think they're going to be anyway. So, but definitely some intriguing prospects. Still early in the season right now, but we'll see what happens. Anything else you want to add to that, Flo, or that was your hot topic for the day?
I have one more hot topic. I've been hearing the name point guard / shooting guard Brandon Knight, Phoenix Suns, being offered, in any potential trade. I heard 3 potential teams that would probably make sense for him. Is one, the Brooklyn Nets, 2, the Orlando Magics, and there's a third team. And I apologize, I don't have that third team in front of me. But there's a third team involved, but like I said, with Phoenix, they're set pretty much in their starting backcourt of shooting guard Devin Booker and point guard Eric Bledsoe. So, unfortunately, the odd man out is going to be Brandon Knight. I mean, he'll be good come off the bench, but I think he wants to start. So he's really the odd man out. As a matter of fact, his minutes are being decreased, in the beginning of the season. But now, it's my understanding now he's been starting the last couple of games at the small forward position because T.J. Warren is hurt for Phoenix.
And that's not good for Brandon because he's playing out of position with that. He's very undersized for the small forward to me. It's just a bad fit with that team, basically, with Bledsoe. They had a lot of 3-point guard alignments with that team at the time. So, I mean, I understand trading, but right now I don't think you're going to get that much for him. He's just coming back health-wise. So I would wait and see again, Maybe a Sacramento or a team like that might be where he could end up going. Or a team that's, one piece away as the season goes along. but I still think it's a little too early. But right now they're putting outfielders right now. But I think he's a pretty good player when he's healthy, though. How about you, Danny D? What you think?
Yeah, he can ball. I just want to know how Phoenix always keep on having all these guards. Last time Isaiah Thomas left and Gordon Dragic had to get out of there too. Remember, they were all on Phoenix and they had to go.
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix always have guards. They need to get some other people. They all have guard problems. Too many.
Way too many. But I guess that's why they're trying to get rid of him right now. But that's the way. It's like that other team. I forgot the name of them. That team that kept drafting the same position year after year. And he's like, why they keep drafting? Oh, Philadelphia. Big man after big man after big man. It's like, can you get some more pieces there? You're not going to play a 5-man rotation of centers and power forwards. And basically trying to trade on New Orleans right now, So we'll see. How about your hot topic for the day, Danny D?
Oh, the only trade talking about that we was saying was Jimmy Butler going to Portland for C.J. McCollum and Aruf Aminu. Ooh. That was a trade they wanted to try to do something real quick to get, because the Trailblazers are looking half and half right now. They're trying to step up and trying to make the playoffs right now. So that's the only trade rumor I heard about.
That's pretty. I didn't hear about that one. Oh, thanks again, Flo, regarding your trades. Some of them I didn't hear either. So I appreciate the hot topic for the day. But what you think about the one Danny D just gave us just now, Flo?
Jimmy Butler going to Portland for C.J. McCollum
and Aminu.
I think that's an interesting trade for both teams, to be honest with you, because with Portland, you're acquiring an all-star caliber player, Jimmy Butler, but the problem with that is, are you going to slide him at the 2? Are you going to put him at the 3? I mean, with Portland, they still have an extra guard there by the name of Allen Crabbe, where, they signed him as a restricted free agent, after the Nets offered him big money, and Portland matched it. So it's an odd fit to me for Portland. I can see them making that trade, but it's just an odd fit to me. I mean, they get bigger going with Jimmy Butler and get a better defensive player, but it's an odd fit, though.
I have to agree. I like Jimmy Butler. I also like McCollum. I think he's a real good young player who's gotten better as the years going by, which shows me he's really working on his game. But also, the thing, like you said, with Crabtree, I thought he was going to play a lot better. I really thought at one point he might have been a Knick during the free agency period instead of going after Lee. But he ended up getting more money than we thought he was going to get. At least I thought so at the time. But right now, I would kind of hold off on if I was Chicago more than Portland right now. I understand kind of Portland doing it. Maybe, as you said, the size might help them out in the backcourt with Lillard and with Butler. That'd be a pretty good backcourt. But on the other side with the Bulls, I think Butler is more of a fit for them than McCullough is right now. I think it also make you very small with Rondo in the backcourt. Rondo has very long arms, wingspan. He has like almost 6'10" wingspan, they say, something like that. So I understand on that part, but to me, I really wouldn't make that deal right now if I was Chicago. I'd be more inclined to make it for Portland. And you also have to worry about the money issue too. Do you want to put that much money behind Butler and everything? We'll see though. That's definitely may have some legs on it. It's very interesting to say the least though. Any other hot topic you have for at this point, Danny D?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, I don't have any hot topic right now. The main one I had was the same one Flo discussed earlier. So that was pretty much the issue or the segment for hot topics. And basically now it's time for our weekly roundup regarding the Knicks. The Knicks' past weekly game were as follows. On Tuesday, they had a home game against the Trailblazers, which they won 107-103. On Friday, they had a home game against the Bobcats, which they also won, 113-111 in overtime. And Saturday, they had an away game against the Bobcats again, which they lost 107-102. And their next game would be this Monday against the Thunder and Westbrook, who's been on a tear. And that'd be a home game. So basically, the Knicks went 2-1 the previous 3 games since our previous podcast. The Knicks' total record now stands at 8-8, 7-2 at home, and they would be 7th place in the playoffs if it started today. Flo, please summarize your thoughts about these most recent games, but as usual, I don't want to go into too many individual game specifics at this time. You can start us off.
Pretty much, the Knicks had a productive week, going 2-1. Mm-hmm. Those are 2 big wins. Protect your home court. So all in all, it was a great week for the Knicks, man. And not only that, we get to 500. That's big.
Definitely. How about you, Danny D?
Like I said, overall, it was a good week for these guys, and they almost pulled it off on that third win that they didn't get. They should have had got that loss, but they could have won that game though. They had a good week.
Yeah, I agree. They went 2-1. I thought they would go 2-1, and they pretty much won the games I thought they would win going into it. I thought they would have a little trouble regarding the back-to-back. Well, not the back-to-back. Well, basically the back-to-back games. Regarding the Bobcats, I figured also the Bobcats really needed to win that game because you didn't want. They was really struggling at the time. So I felt they was a hungrier team. I also felt they would be a little tired going back-to-back, flying out there. So can't really be too upset with what they did regarding those three games. But now going specific wise, any notables regarding the Blazers game, Flo, that you'd like to go into first?
Ah, in terms of the Blazers game, in all honesty, I felt like the Knicks played great defense going from the second quarter all the way to the fourth quarter. In the first quarter, they gave up 33 points. Other than that, man, they played, the defense really improved, in the last three quarters, So, O'Quinn started in place of Noah. First quarter, like I said, a little bit sloppy, the Knicks. They look kind of lazy. Portland shot 4 or 5 from the three-point range in that first quarter. And, the Knicks were, trying to get things going. I know Rose had 6 points in that first quarter and Melo had 7 points. And the Knicks had featured a little, interesting lineup where they had Maurice Ndor, Brandon Jennings, Melo, Justin Holiday, and they had Billy Hernan Gomez, at one point trying to, reduce the lead. So it was a really interesting quarter, to say the least, for the Knicks. Like I said, they look kind of lazy, but,
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Danny D? What you think about that game?
Now they competed. That's what they came out there and they completed. They was being aggressive and things like that. And Brandon Jennings came off the bench, had 11 assists. They overall they did pretty good. The only problem is the fouls, man. They like to foul a lot. But other than that, everything's other than that, and what's the precedent for the next 3 games that we're going to talk about? The fouling's horrible. But other than that, they played okay though.
Definitely. Gotta definitely agree with you among those fouls. That's something they really having a bad tendency right now. It's going to bring that up as well. And in that game, they had, what was it, 21, the 26 free throws Portland had to 8 for 8 for the Knicks. 8.
Oh, come on. Wait till you get to the other games. Wait till you get to the other games. That's just the iceberg. Wait till you get to the other games.
Exactly. So for them to even win that game was just pretty remarkable in that regards,
Yeah.
But basically, I thought they played really well. For the most part, I thought you saw a big plays out of Derrick Rose at the end. I think he had 18 points down the stretch, and 6 of his 18, and I think the 4. And basically he played really well. Porzingis once again, he had 31 points, 9 rebounds, I think. So he played very well when it was all said and done. They shot the ball pretty well, 46%. And just overall, I thought they was battling back and forth. I thought they pretty much didn't. The main thing I didn't want them to let Lillard go off. He only had 22 points. This is not a big thing considering what he basically runs that team when it's all said and done. And pretty much shut him down for the most part. But I also thought, Melo didn't have a great game. I thought he was doing a lot of different things out there. He was trying, and he pretty much contained them to the most part. But I thought it was basically the Porzingis and Rose show in that game. But and also thought Kuzminskis, I thought he hit a big 3 late in that game, which was a real good push for them, especially when they got a little bit closer at the end. So for me that pretty much made the game. Those plays at the end and basically the play of Porzingis and Rose. Anything else y'all want to say about that game, or does y'all want to jump right into the Charlotte game with the Bobcats?
I have one more thing to add.
Okay, Flo.
Like you mentioned, and also what Danny D mentioned, Jennings 11 assists, no turnovers. That's big, and 2 steals. And you had mentioned before, Rose had 18 points overall. Keep in mind he had 10 points in that fourth quarter. Shot 8 of 15 from the field, 5 assists, 1 turnover, 2 steals. And I gotta give a shout out in terms of to Courtney Lee, who actually played excellent defense. Offensively, he stunk in that game, but he did an excellent job forcing C.J. McCullough to go 6 for 17 from the field. So I'll give Courtney his kudos playing defense.
Very true. Okay. Thank you, Flo. And in the game they played against the Charlotte Bobcats. Which I keep saying Bobcats, I just thought about it. They're not the Bobcats no more, they're the Hornets. I forgot they
The
went
Hornets,
back.
man. The Hornets, man. They buzzing, brother. They buzzing.
I totally forgot. My fault. There you go. Sorry
They
about that,
buzzing,
listeners.
brother.
I just thought about that. They're not the Bobcats anymore. They're the Hornets. But in any respect, the Knicks won that game 113 to 111 in overtime. Very good game back and forth. Big win by them, I think. What's your thoughts on that, Danny D, regarding that game against the Hornets?
Gets the Hornets out there. Melo got busy out there. It was a win by the skin of our teeth because when we gonna talk about the free throw guys, the foul trouble. KP was in foul trouble. The Hornets could have won that game. They shot 63% from the foul line. They went to the line 27 times, only compared to the Knicks to 13. If they'd hit some more cover free throws, they could have won that game.
Definitely.
But I'm saying a win is a win, though. A win is a win. I'll take that.
And again, the 27 free throws attempt for the Hornets versus 13 for the Knicks. You can't have that, especially in an overtime game. You're making the game a lot harder for yourself than it has to be. How about you, Flo, regarding that game against the Hornets?
Pretty much, the Knicks played great D in that third quarter. They allowed the Hornets only scored 18 points in that third quarter. In the overtime, Hornets only scored 7 points for the Knicks 9. Noah started, so I thought this was going to be an automatic loss. Because in that first quarter, guys, Tyler Zeller was getting a lot of easy layups, man. He was running up and down the floor right by Noah, man. It was like Noah wasn't even there, pretty much, man. That first quarter also, what I love to see was the good ball movement. Kyle O'Quinn and Courtney Lee. Kyle O'Quinn, Justin Holiday. Great passes by Kyle O'Quinn. He's an underrated passer, guy. He really is. Melo had 16 points in that first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Second quarter, like Danny D mentioned, the Knicks were doing a lot of fouling. Too much fouling, And that third quarter, Knicks went on a 22-4 run, especially when Marvin Williams left the game with a knee injury. Also, Hornets had 6 turnovers, and they shot 39% from the field in that third quarter.
Definitely agree with that. I think the key to me that game was the play of Melo. I thought, like you said, Danny D, Porzingis had a lot of foul trouble, and Melo basically stepped up. He had 35 points. He had 14 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, I don't know what else you really want him to do. And, this when people... And he had the chance to win it in regulation. Right at the end, it just rimmed out at the last second. And I thought he played really well down the stretch. I thought he just had a great game. He just looked really focused. And going against a guy like Michael Gilchrist, who's a very good defender, he was buying him up. They was double teaming him. He was still throwing a lot of good passes. Like 2 or 3 times, he was throwing a lot of little one-hand touch passing type of thing, real quick passes to the basket. I thought he looked real strong out there. I also thought Rose came up with a huge block at the end, which right over, I forgot who that was at the end. Kemba Walker, I believe. He had a 3. Yeah, he had a chance to, I think, basically tie the game at the point or basically win the game at the end. And he came up with a big block at the end. So I thought that was a big win right there by the Knicks, and they played really well. And I thought Porzingis did a good job with some blocks in there. He had 3 blocks, and it was 3 big-time blocks. It was a couple of times when Kaminsky came down, and I thought one time he actually had threw the ball down. It was a dunk until I saw the replay. I was like, wow, he got a block, and he was off and running. So things like that is what I'm really looking for Porzingis. He's really coming to his own defensive-wise. As long as he can stop the little ticky-tack fouls, I think they'll be fine. I don't think Jennings gave that much off the bench that game, but for the most part, the bench didn't really give you that much pop other than maybe Holiday and Quinn was pretty good. But, you wanted to see Jennings do a little more. Hernan Gomez, he had a good game before. He kind of went down. That's the only thing with him. He's kind of up and down right now, which is you expect kind of from a young guy. And Lee, he also played okay, 12 points, 4-10. Like to see a little more out of him, but for the most part was okay. Same thing with Noah, his first game back from the sickness thing. So pretty good effort all around. Definitely a good win, and they had a lot of energy going into that game, which I think they had to let down for the second game, which basically they lost 107 to 102 when they went back to Charlotte. How about that, Flo? How do you think about that game?
That was a weird game to me because if you look at it, the Knicks were actually down by 21 in this game.
Hmm.
And, you know, you're saying to yourself, okay, here's another automatic road loss. But then again, here comes the Knicks, starting with Brandon Jennings off the bench.
Hmm.
Big steals, giving the Knicks a lot of energy, helping this team play with a lot of fight. One thing I give credit for this Knicks team, they didn't give up. Down 21, they fed off the energy of Jennings to make their comeback, especially in that third quarter where the Knicks only allowed 17 points. They allowed 20 points in the second quarter, 17 points in that third quarter. So they played excellent defense in the second and third quarter. Like I said, it's hard for you to try to win basketball games when you're down by 21 in the first quarter. You end up ending the first quarter down 16, 38-22. So, again, you've got to be able to, play basketball for 48 minutes. You can't decide you want to play basketball after you're down by 21 points.
Definitely. How about you, Danny D? What you got to say about that game?
The same thing about that game. Again, Charlotte going to the line. They went to the line 42 times.
That's
Knicks
crazy.
20. They shot, you know what I'm saying? 29 out of 42. They're stopping the clock. You're getting free throws, getting free buckets, And they let Jeremy Lamb. This guy didn't even play the first game. This guy came out. He had 17 rebounds. He's a guard.
17 rebounds and
He's
18 points.
He points, but that's something. He's a guard.
That's
He's
crazy.
not a power forward. He's a point guard.
Once again, another player who came out of nowhere and hurt the Knicks again. It's like when these players come out of nowhere, they always they just rear up and like, all right, let's go. We're going against the Knicks. Let's get ready. And it's like they kill the Knicks every time.
And you got big head Frank Kaminsky shooting 2 threes. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's this guy doing to shoot threes?
Yeah, he did his thing too. I was like, I think he had like 5 boards too. Nah, I knew he was gonna have a letdown energy-wise, and they definitely showed it in that first quarter. I think that was the game right there, 38-22 on the road.
But I can't be mad. It's back to back. You know what I'm saying? Them dudes is tight. Carmelo, he's up there in age and things like that. It's hard to go to a back to back. I mean, you're tired. You got tired legs. He came out flat-footed, shooting the jump shot wasn't falling. Sometimes they fall, sometimes they don't. But a back to back is a lot on your body.
Very
a lot.
I thought Porzingis played well, which is what I was looking for. I thought he played well for the most part of that game. And I thought Rose struggled a little bit too in that game. Basically, he shot 6 of 20, I think. So that was basically the bench was trying. I thought Jennings played okay for the most part. He was really trying to push them over that little hump they was having. Same thing with Hernan Gomez. He did well. But, once again, I think that first quarter is what really drained them, and then trying to play catch-up on the road at the back-to-back is basically a losing formula to me. But, next they play the Thunder, which they going against Russell Westbrook. And how y'all feel about that game going into it? Westbrook just tied LeBron, I believe, in career triple-doubles as well, so he's been on a tear. And they just won their previous game against Detroit, which was a problem team for the Knicks, basically, and they won 106-88 pretty convincingly. How you feel going to that game, Flo?
Before we go into that OKC Thunder game, I just want to add into that Hornets game.
That's fine.
A couple reasons I saw. A couple reasons why I think the Knicks really lost this game overall. Number one, Mr. Noah, 0 points, 3 rebounds. Cody Zeller had 11 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks. Number two, like you guys mentioned before, shooting. Knicks shot 38% from the field. Number three, no interior defense. Again, that's on the starting center. Oh, let me guess. Who's that? Joakim Noah, once again. Number four. Number four, poor spacing offensively. The guys were kind of like too close. And I noticed a lot of times where Porzingis and Rose They're trying to get things going, but they were kind of too close, and Rose kind of, kept turning the ball over because, again, like I said, poor spacing. These guys were way too close. You need to space it out a little bit. That's all. Spread it out just a little bit. And another reason why they lost this game, they got our rebound, 52-46, especially on the defensive rebounding. 42-36 Charlotte edge. Mm-hmm. And what Danny mentioned, free throws. Charlotte went to the line 42 times. Knicks went to the line 20 times. Again, these are things that the Knicks got to correct. You only lost by 5 points in this game. Mm-hmm. You were down 21. These are the reasons why you lost by 5 points right here. So this was a game that they made a comeback to win. They should have won this game when they were down 21. They made their comeback. Either you take the L down 21 and get blown out, or come back and try to win this game. Mm-hmm. They made their comeback, but again, Noah, a big disappointment. $72 million disappointment. Joakim Noah, big time. I can sit here and criticize Carmelo for having a bad game, but this game wasn't about Melo at all. This game was about Cody Zeller. 11 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks. Versus Joakim Noah, 0 points, 3 rebounds.
Yeah, we kind of got the early hook. He only played like 12 minutes, So, plus he's still coming off the illness and everything. So it's kind of hard to really bash him, but I understand where y'all coming from. You're really not getting much out of him. So I definitely hear you on that part. But I just felt like, I don't think Rose played well in that game either, 6-20, like I said. It just had a lot of players that didn't really step up in that game. So, hopefully we'll see more out of Noah in the next game, because they definitely going to need him going against Thunder. That's basically been the main thing they've been doing. What's the laughter for?
You know why I'm laughing? I'm laughing?
What's that?
You know why I'm laughing? Because I OKC know what I know. And what they know is Steven Adams is going to go to work against Joakim Noah. That's what they know, and that's what I know. I expect Steven Adams to have a great game against Joakim Noah.
He's coming off of 16 points, 7 to 9 field goals too, so he's coming in hot right now.
60 points, he needs to drop 30 tomorrow against Noah. 30, 40 points, he needs to go at Joakim Noah. He's got to go at Joakim Noah. He's got to abuse him, embarrass him, and take him out of his misery.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen as a Knicks fan. But basically, that team, I think, is going to come down, and Knicks going to really have to try to win that game with Porzingis and Melo. Because right now they have Sabonis and Robinson, who I really don't think are that great. I think Sabonis has potential to be pretty good, but I think right now he's going through those young doldrums right now. But they've been playing well with Westbrook and Oladipo. He had like 18 points, I think, that game. And Adams, and also off the bench, Cantor been playing pretty good. But, basically, they're going to have to really play well. I think Porzingis, Melo, and I really want to see what Rose is going to do. Because I forgot one thing I mentioned. Rose hit another big shot against, I think, Portland that game. He had him basically dancing like he was on an ice rink. And it was just looking like old D Rose out there. That's one thing really, a good thing to look at right now. It's really encouraging as a Knicks fan to see that, especially from the point guard position, which we really struggled throughout our history to constantly replace and have a really good play at that position. So seeing him against Westbrook, I just want him to try to contain him. You're not going to stop Westbrook at this point. He's a force of nature right now. But, if he can just make him work on both sides of the ball and Porzingis and Melo play well, I think they got a good chance to win that game. How about you, Danny D? What you think about that game coming up against the Thunder?
Yeah, what they got to do is clog the paint. They got to clog the paint up and make Russell Westbrook shoot the ball. Just don't let him drive down and dunk on people, get a poster board. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Clog up the lane. Have Noah come up, step up at the foul line, and clog up the lane defensively. Offensively, we'll be fine because these dudes don't play no defense at all. Oklahoma, they're okay. They don't defend that well. They got to clog up the lane. Westbrook, don't let him get hype. Make him to a jump shooter, and we'll be okay.
Okay, I hear you. Anything else you want to add to that, Flo, regarding that game?
Danny's correct, man. You gotta make Russell Westbrook a volume shooter. That's the key for the Knicks to trying to win this game. But for OKC, if they want to win this game, in all honesty, give the ball to Steven Adams. Let him go to work against Joakim Noah. Period. If they want to win this game, period. In terms of the matchup, Melo has the advantage over Andre Robertson. Robertson is a great defensive player, but again, he's undersized, playing the small forward position. And at power forward, Porzingis versus the rookie Domantas Sabonis, the son of the European great Arvydas Sabonis. Again, rookie, but he's no Serge Ibaka. So, Porzingis is going to have a great game for the Knicks to win, and Melo. In terms of the shooting guard matchup, Victor Oladipo versus Courtney Lee. If Courtney Lee can, bring his A-level defense and force Oladipo to become a volume shooter also, pretty much the Knicks can really win this game, big time. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the bench, and I think the Knicks have the advantage bench-wise versus OKC bench. I think with OKC, they only have Enes Kanter. That's pretty much that can score. Other than that, man, you have Kyle Singler and Nick Collison. They're not that great, So I think the Knicks have the better bench. And if the Knicks bench can just really take over this game, they should win this game single-handedly. So I know they have this game, but also they have two other games. They have a home-and-home series with Minnesota Wednesday and Friday also. So the Knicks should focus on this game tomorrow, trying to get this win, take advantage of their matchups. Their bench is going to have to continue to, perform and outproduce OKC bench, which they should tomorrow. There's no excuses. You're home. You've been winning all your home games. You're one of the best home teams in the NBA right now at 7-2. You just got to keep on winning at home, man. You have to let every team in the NBA know when you come to Madison Square Garden, it should be a loss on that visiting team schedule. It should be an automatic loss. This is your home court. You play in the greatest city in the world and the greatest basketball court ever built in New York City, called MSG, the Mecca. The Knicks should always win all their home games. They've lost 2 games. They should continue to just win throughout the rest of their home games all the way. I can't see the Knicks losing more than 11 games at home. I really can't. I really can't.
Okay. Well, the Knicks, the one thing they do, they will surprise you, though. That's the one thing with them. So right now they're on a good streak. I agree with you on a lot of those points, but like I said, it's a roller coaster team at times. Health also plays a part in that, so we'll just have to see, though. But that's basically the weekly roundup for the Knicks. And, excuse me. Now it's time for our personal NBA honorable mentions of the week.
Yay! Yay! Yay!
And this time I'll start with Danny D. Who's your NBA honorable mention of the week for you?
Honorable mention for the week for me is going to be 2 players on the same team, and it's going to be Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler.
At the same time. There we go.
At the same time.
All right. What were their numbers for this week? What kind of thing?
All right. For me, I'm going for Dwayne Wade because actually, guys, he moved up to 38th on the all-time scoring list, and he just passed Mitch Richmond on the all-time scoring list right now. Dwayne Wade, number 38 on the list. And for Jimmy Butler, he got the Eastern Conference Player of the Week. He's getting busy because he had 40 on the Lakers the other night. And he's averaging right now 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 47% from the field. So I'm going with the back duo between those two. I'm going with Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler from Chicago Bulls.
Okay, I definitely hear that. Definitely. Mr. Richmond, was that Ron MTUC? Part of that group. One of the former best 2 guards out there. Definitely a good pick. How about you, Flo? Who's your honorable mention of the week?
I actually have 2 people. One is in the NBA, and the other person is actually a fan. I want to mention the fan first. Milwaukee Bucks fan hit a half-court shot for $5,000. I hope Jason Kidd was watching. I hope he was watching. He should sign this kid up, man. Great shot, man. All net. My second honorable mention is actually one of Danny D's favorite point guards who used to play for Atlanta Hawks, starting point guard for the Indiana Pacers. Jeff Teague carried the Indiana Pacers to a 115-111 victory in overtime against the Oklahoma City Thunder in OKC without starting small forward Paul George. Jeff Teague had 30 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. And matter of fact, he scored 8 points in overtime
Okay. Wow, that's some big time numbers too. You know.
Yeah, great job, Atlanta. Great job, Atlanta. Real smart, real smart, real smart, Atlanta. Real smooth.
Oh man, very true, very true. And Mr. Richmond, didn't he pass? I believe he passed, right?
Nah, no
I
way.
thought he did.
Nah,
You sure?
nah. I'm sure of that.
Okay, okay. I thought he did. I'm not sure.
Mm, nah, I'll find out right now.
Well, let me know. I was trying to seem like I remember that. I don't know why. I could be wrong.
Nah, he's still alive. He's
Okay,
still
okay.
alive.
I won't put that out there then. All right. All right. Good shout out.
Matter of fact, he's actually the special assistant coach to the St. John's Red Storm. He's in New York City. Matter of fact.
Wow. Okay. So I didn't even know that. There you go. Definitely taught me something new. And my player for the week was James Harden. And he's been on a tear. And during November 7th, he had 32 points, 15 assists, and 6 rebounds. And November 9th, he also had 24 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds in a victory over the Spurs. And then on the 12th, he had 25 points, 13 assists, and 11 rebounds. And another, that time they lost to the Spurs. And then they also had under D'Antoni, I think they broke the record for I think it was points, either threes in one game, something like that recently. But basically, he's really pushing hard right now for that MVP type candidate, I think, right now. So James Harden is my pick for the week.
Yay! Yay! Yay!
Thank you, fellas, for your honorable mentions of the week. And I just want to transition to another segment we have. And today we have a different segment. It's regarding a short, not short, but a thing we was discussing off the air regarding a new hot topic. And this hot topic is basically a question that we want to put out there to the listeners and to each other regarding how much should we measure the amount of championship rings a specific player has in regards to their overall greatness. This is a topic we discussed internally, as I spoke about previously, and was brought to the forefront by Danny D. Are there any major thoughts that come to your mind regarding this topic, Danny?
No, only major things I have this topic because sometimes a lot of people believe that your greatness should be measured by rings, and if you don't get it, your legacy is tainted. Why so? Why should your legacy be tainted if you put in the work just because you don't have the rings to back it up? You know what I'm saying? Because other players have more rings, but their legacy shouldn't match up to their greatness. So I believe that that's why we should bring up this topic. So is my legacy tainted because I don't got a ring, even though I'm getting busy?
Okay, definitely understand you on that perspective. How about you, Flo? What you think?
I actually agree with Danny D. I think that regardless that you don't have a ring, that doesn't mean that your legacy is tarnished. You did everything you can, to try to win a ring. And unfortunately, you had some stumbling blocks, For example, there's a couple of players that don't have any NBA rings, that have retired, but they're in the Hall of Fame, Reggie Miller is one player. His legacy is not tarnished. Another player who I don't know he's in the Hall of Fame yet, but should be in the Hall of Fame, is the former Knicks center, Patrick Ewing. His legacy, to me, wasn't tarnished at all. He did everything he had to do, but unfortunately, Ewing, Reggie Miller, and also another Hall of Famer, Charles Barkley, they had one stumbling block, and that's a player that used to play in the Chicago Bulls, number 23. Who's the current owner of the Charlotte Hornets, Michael Jordan. So, at the end of the day, I don't think your legacy is tarnished at all.
See, I would agree and disagree with both of you regarding that. I think it shouldn't be tarnished, but I think nowadays when everybody wants to say the ring is the thing, I think they put a little too much emphasis on that, but I also think it does have some precedence in it because it separates the players that are considered Hall of Fame Tier 1 in my eyes versus a Hall of Fame player that's like a Tier 2 or a Tier 3. Because when you have a player that's very similar in talent, you need something to separate them. So the way they played in championship games, or if they even did play in championship games, I think that separates one player from the other in that respect. Like you would name a Patrick Ewing, I was a big fan of his, being a Knicks fan. But when you look at a player like Hakeem Olajuwon, you have to separate them on some level. And to me, the way they played in that finals game showed you right there who was the better player going into it and Hall of Fame career-wise. And I think that ring, especially that second ring, pushed Hakeem at another level that you wouldn't put Patrick Ewing or David Robinson in that same level. You know? So to me, I think it does separate. Also, like you have a John Havlicek type of player who had maybe 8 rings versus Scottie Pippen who had 6. Some people would feel like on some level Scottie might have been a little better, but you have to give the nod, to Havlicek, even though you may feel that their playing level was kind of similar, but Havlicek still played better as he grew older versus Pippen, who kind of declined a lot quicker, and he had more rings. So I think that's where the rings come into the conversation, But, I understand where y'all coming from. Also think sometimes you have to look at it from players who might be very similar, and you might get a skew looked at it. It's kind of like a Tim Duncan versus Kevin Garnett. I spoke with Danny D about this outside of the podcast on previous occasions, and we talked about whether Garnett would still be the same player he is today with Popovich as his coach versus Duncan being his coach, for Popovich, and also the team he has. He really never had a team that was like the Spurs put around him. So the rings may make Duncan like he was a much better player than Garnett, but also, like we were saying, the rings sometimes can make a player look like he's better than what he actually is, depending on the team he has and the coach that he has.
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
That's true. That's true, because I agree too. Because that's like if we go down like similar players, that's like we're saying, okay, Derek Fisher, guys, he has like 3-4 rings. It's better than John Stockton. Y'all believe that because he has more rings?
Right. Absolutely not.
You understand? You understand how or Speedy Claxton is better than John Stockton.
Right. There's no contest at all with that. But if you don't watch it and you're not watching the game or it wasn't your time, you may say, "Oh, he got more rings." But it's like, But just looking at the stats, just looking at the player as an individual, you would never say that.
Yeah. Because sometimes I looked at it too. I probably look at it as I think it's the body of work that you put in together. Like it's all the categories. Like how many MVPs does the person have? Right. How many scoring titles the person has? Is he well rounded? Did he make his teammates better?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And what effort he put in. But it's a lot. It's the spirit. You can go either way. But I agree with you saying too. But I think sometimes with the rings, like you said, it discriminates. I agree with you. It the great from the greatest. On that note. But I don't think it's legacy. But I agree.
But I also think during the rings proves sometimes who was a more championship quality player on that level. That's the thing. Because let's say I'm alone, right? Him and Barkley are so close. But I would still, and you would say probably a lot of people say Malone's a better player when you look at the body of work, MVPs, and just numbers-wise, points and everything of that nature. And maybe you would say it on a consistent regular season basis. But if you look in playoff time, or you look at them in the dream team and things of that nature, I would say Barkley was a much better player when it was like big time or the money was on the line type of player. So to me, I think it's versus clutch versus playoff or versus championship games. That's where the ring kind of separates some players versus you've seen some people shrink from that, which is one thing I really get on LeBron with, sometimes. I know that's the chosen one, but
LeBron James.
But at the same time, I seen him shrink from the spotlight, and you seen Kyrie Irving really had to step up in the clutch or a big shot by Ray Allen and things like that. But it goes both ways. You win as a team, you lose as a team, but those things do make a difference to me as an individual watching the game. How about you, Flo? What you got to say about that?
I don't know if you guys heard Brandon Jennings' comment when he signed with the Knicks. He said that he'd rather have Robert Ory's career than Reggie Miller's career. What do you think about that?
I know it's a lot less stress with Robert Ory's career looking back at it. Big shot Rob and everything. You do look at him with a different demeanor than you do Reggie, but me personally, I would think Reggie Miller is a better player than me. But
yeah, you say that, but then he'll go. But then you can also go to the fact that what do we play basketball for? You play to win.
You play to win the game, right?
Hey, that's it. I play to win. I play to win. I play for rings. You know what I'm saying? I play for rings. What Brandon Jennings needs to do is worry about his own career. He's trying to get busy. That's what he needs to be worried about. Talking about two guys that's gonna make the Hall of Fame. Maybe I don't know about Robert Ory, but he got rings, so he don't care about that. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. What you say about that, Flo? How you feel about that question?
I mean, honestly, the NBA landscape has changed over the years. In the past, if you made the playoffs every year in the 80s and in the 90s, and you got to the finals, you had a productive NBA career. Now, in this current era, guys are being measured by how many, measured by if they win a ring or not. And I think that's the reason why a franchise and all-star player caliber in the Durantula, number 35, OKC at the time, Kevin Durant, leaving to go to Golden State. For him, I think he knew that he's already got the scoring champion title. He's made the playoffs with OKC, and he made it to the finals with OKC. But at the end of the day, I think he wanted to win a ring, so he decided to join, Golden State. He felt like his career is going to be defined by winning a ring, as opposed to just, getting to the playoffs every year. So, for me, if I was in that situation, I would prefer to play for a ring. I'd rather be a productive NBA player and play for a ring like a Robert Ory, as opposed to, making it to the Hall of Fame. There's no wrong being in the Hall of Fame. Don't. I'm not criticizing the NBA Hall of Fame. I'm just stating that it would be nice to have at least one ring, as an NBA player.
But see, to me, that's where you open Pandora's box now. And now you done said about this ring regarding, and I think that's the main thing that pushed Durant over there, is because everybody's chasing that ring, the LeBrons of the world, and everyone wants that ring, don't want to have that Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Patrick Ewing legacy. Because it's so looked down upon, like you said, versus years ago when just making the playoffs 8 to 10 years in a row was considered a really big thing. Now it's not considered the same. But I'm saying you win a ring, let's say Durant win a ring with Golden State this year. What kind of ring did he win? To me, it's a tainted ring in some respect. You go into a team that's already broke the record for the most wins ever as a team. You also go into a team that won the championship within the last 2 years and went back to the championship game 2 years in a row and was within one game of winning it and lost in game 7 up 3-1. So if you win with this team, what really have you won? To me, it's not tainted, but it's not a ring I'm going to look at as such a great deal to me, unless he really has an all-out tremendous playoff and MVP final run. I don't see it as being a big deal. It's the same thing when I look back at LeBron and the Miami wins. I don't look at them as a big deal to me the same way. I look at the Cleveland win being way more than the Miami wins was. It's the same reason I'll give more respect to Carmelo if he wins with this Knicks team within the next year or two versus just teaming up with LeBron or teaming up with another team that's already pretty much set and you just adding another piece to it. To me, it's like you win, but what have you won in that respect? I'm not putting it on the same pedestal like I would put a Jordan in his wins or a Hakeem in his 2 wins. To me, that mean a lot just winning that with the team he had. He didn't even have a Hall of Fame team like that. His only Hall of Fame play was his second year with Drexler, which was not the same play it was back when he was in Portland. I look at that with much more admiration to me going through Shaquille and all those type of players to win that championship. But that's just my opinion with that. How about you, Dandy? What you think?
It's going to be ambiguity with all that because then we can say what the Olajuwon thing, he didn't have to face Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Or he came back with Jordan was coming out of retirement, things like that. It's like a great team. It's like half and half. I see what you're saying with Kevin Durant, but then again, that's what society said. Like Flo said, that's what it is. I'm getting measured by rings. Karl Malone and John Stockton and stuff like that, he said he don't want to go out like that. So he's like, all right, jump in the bandwagon. Yeah, kind of. He should have stayed at home and things like that. But that's what I'm getting measured by. I'm getting measured by rings. So what I got to do to get it? You know what I'm saying? Then again, some people say it was free agency. I'm a free agent. Why I can't go?
No, that's a whole nother thing.
That's what I'm saying. Why I can't go? No, I'm just playing both sides. I'm playing both sides of the fence. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm doing. Because now, once I went to Golden State. Now I'm getting a ring. I'm getting measured. Now, like you said, now you put me up there with the great because I already got an MVP already. You understand what I'm saying? Like, oh, you joined the team already, but now you're measuring me by rings now, so I can be in that same talk now. Because when it goes down at the end of my career and things, people are not gonna worry about like, oh, he went with a team. You worry about I got an MVP. Look at my stats. I got a scoring tie. Now how many rings he got, so you can put me in that discussion.
And that's where I say the rings, as you said with this topic, is not the thing. It's the quality to these rings, man. It's like I look back at Jordan. If he'd have went and left and went to Detroit, right, and he won his ring. All right, you couldn't get past Detroit. That says something to me. You can't get past this team. Every team usually does that. You get beat by this team repeatedly until you learn how to beat them. Same thing would happen with Detroit and the Lakers. They had to get through them, or Lakers and the Celtics. You got to get through these teams. That's the growing pains of doing it. Same thing, Jordan finally got over Detroit hump and moved on. If he just said, oh, I lost 2 times to them, I'm getting beat up by Lambeer and all them, I can't take it no more, let me join them. Nobody would look at him as the GOAT. Nobody would look at him as half the legacy he has. And he might have won more rings with them. Who knows? But I'm just saying, when you win it that way, it taints the whole amount of your rings and the quality of it. So to me, if he rips off 4 or 5 wins with this Golden State team, I'm not going to look at it the same way if he'd have won 2 or 3 if he stayed with Oklahoma City. I'd have gave that a lot more clout than these wins he might get with this team. That's just the way I look at it. But I definitely hear where y'all both coming from with it. But, that's why we having this discussion. That's why we having this topic right here. But another thing I think regarding those the rings and the greatness, I also think it taints it somewhat when the players who really didn't get to play for a championship caliber team, or they got hurt early in their career, like a Grant Hill who was injured, or Tracy McGrady, or a Penny Hardaway, and then you also had like an Allen Iverson type who's played for a team that wasn't very good, built totally around him, but he didn't win a ring. But to me, by taking a team that was not great at all, just built totally around him, that was just a defensive team, and getting them to the finals, that says a lot more to me than just if he joined a team that was already stacked and just won 1 ring with him. I look at that with more precedence again, but that's just me. How about y'all regarding that topic? D or Flo?
Go
Yeah, I
ahead, D.
agree. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that because you had to put more hard work and go in there. You had to do what you had to do to get it in there. Yeah, the injuries, things like Grant Penny definitely should have got one. I really thought he should have got one. He should have got a ring. Same thing with Grant. But, with the Allen Iverson case, didn't have the team built around him. So that's why I say with championship 2, with the legacy, is also the team effort also. Because if you have a team around you that can actually fight for you or defend and things like that, if AI had an ounce of help, if he had like Aaron McKee and Eric Snow, oh goodness, if he had an ounce, a little bit of more help, I think they could have pulled it off. But they were going against the juggernauts still at them times when they lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah, juggernauts.
How about you, Flo?
Interesting. Let's take Kobe out of the equation in LA and let's insert Penny. I still think Shaq would still win the same amount of rings he has now.
I don't know if he would have won the same amount. Just looking at, because they had their own issues the same way same way Kobe did. That's pretty much why he left and wanted to be in LA, Hollywood thing and that nature. But I know what you're saying talent-wise. I don't think you lose that much Penny versus Kobe in that regard. But it's just hard to say scoring-wise would Penny be able to score as much. I don't know if that would have helped the same way. Maybe if he had Phil coaching him, it might have made a big difference. I think that would have been a big difference over Brian Hill at the time. But I definitely hear what you're saying. I think that's why it's hard to really judge the ring thing while we were stating it. Like you said, I think you could put any one of those players there. You could put a McGrady there, and I think you'd have got the same thing as you got with Kobe. To me, I think both of them was prolific scorers and offensive players, and I thought they played pretty good defense. But once again, the injuries hurt that argument. There's something to be said to stay healthy all that time. So I can't take that away from Kobe. But also, like you said, these things taints it, especially when you haven't really watched a lot of these players. Sometimes for the younger people, or even some of the people who stopped watching it and went back to it. They'll just look at the books and say he got 6, he got 2, he was better. It's not that simple sometimes. Everybody want to make it a microwave society. You could just look at boom, boom, boom. That's it. Doesn't always work that way. And I just think lastly that reinforces the weak argument regarding a player you may have never seen their prime versus one you've seen like in older clips. Like just because they had more rings, they were automatically the best player. And it's like also the argument a lot of people is making like Jordan versus Kobe versus let's say Kobe he already has 5 versus Jordan 6. Even if he got the 6th ring, I wouldn't have put him higher than Jordan seeing both of them in their prime. No disrespect to Kobe or anything like that, but Jordan was way more clutch to me than Kobe was. That's just my feeling towards it. How do y'all feel about that? How about you, Danny D, with that?
I agree. And then Jordan just had that drive that rallied the troops and everybody played from. You understand what I'm saying? Like, even though they might have had a difference on the court, but when they came on the court to play, them boys played. And Jordan, he just uplifted everybody, and he was a competitor. Kobe's a competitor too, but you see it in Mike's eyes. Mike had that drive, man. I seen them games. Mike balls, man. He did.
He definitely did, And that was the thing. Is like we seen it as Knicks fans. We seen it firsthand the stuff he's done.
Yeah.
So and this was in the playoffs and in the championship game. And it's not just like the being a Jordan fan or nothing like that. I'm not really that huge a fan of it in that regard. But respect is respect on it. And the same thing, he's a one player who I actually look at on the team, on the watching it that you feared as a opposing player or watching as an opposing fan. He's the one player you knew the ball was coming into him, and he still was going to do something to make the win happen 9 times out of 10. He's still going to make the big pass to, a Winnington down low and they win the game, the double nickel game and things like that. Or he'll still hit the shot over Craig Elo and, basically taking his soul from when he hit that shot. So to me, I'm like, I don't see a lot of players doing those type of things in that respect. So just because you have a 5 or 6 rings, it's a quality of a play that these players had. That's I think the big difference people are not looking at. Just because you had the same amount of ring don't mean you was the same type of player. And I think that's the part a lot of people, especially younger fans, are not noticing. How about you, Flo? What you say about that?
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Jordan definitely had that killer instinct as opposed to Kobe. And everyone knew Jordan was going to get the ball, but again, that's what allowed Jordan to draw so much attention. If he can take the game-winning shot, or he can dish it off and kick it out to John Paxson, or B.J. Armstrong, or Bill Wellington, et cetera, et cetera. You gotta, as a superstar, you also gotta be able to trust your role players, and he trusted his role players, and they didn't fail them. Oh, let me apologize. I failed to mention Steve Kerr, who's the current coach of the Golden State Warriors, also another clutch player. So that helps too. You gotta have a team. It's one thing to have superstars, but you gotta have a team of role players that can blend in with the superstars, and that team, each player know their roles individually. You have 2 or 3 stars, and then you have you have role players. You have either 8 role players on that team, or 9 role players on that team, or 10 role players on that team,
No,
So again, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Flo.
Again, I don't think you can measure players by the amount of rings that they have. It's just right now, unfortunately, we're living in a different era. And I think LeBron made it difficult now for players where now they're being measured by how many rings they have. So if that's the case, what teams, certain players or star players are going to do is they're pretty much going to leave, their current team to go play at another team that has the potential to win a chip every year, which is the case with Kevin Durant. So if anybody has an issue with it, you got to blame LeBron. He started this trend.
All one respect, but I can't say it's just him. The same thing happened with the Celtics. They did their thing, and other players have done it before. You had Barkley leaving.
That bogus Paul Gasol trade.
Oh, that was terrible. That was terrible at the time. It looks good better now because Mark is actually a very good player, but at the time it was a horrible trade. You basically gift wrapped the championship to the Lakers. Yeah, gift wrapped that championship to him. But also you had Barkley that left, later on. They traded for him to go to Houston. And the same thing when they went and traded for Phoenix. I mean, you know, players have done it before. I can't say it hasn't been done, but it wasn't so blatant as it was in the LeBron
Yeah.
thing. That's what made it left kind of a bad taste in some people's mouths, especially it was more like the players doing it versus just like an organic thing, kind of like with Boston with Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen and Pierce. It's kind of something that was more not with something that seemed like over a season that took place as thing they put together amongst themselves that kind of left a bad taste in some people's mouth. But
Not
this is what
one,
happens. Mhm.
not three, not four.
That's also played a big role in it as well. So it's tough to say. It's a real tough topic. I think it's a combination of both. But I just hate when they just think because you had the more ring, it automatically makes you the better player. And it's like, no, you have to watch these players. You have to see them. You have to go by the statistics, like you said, Danny D before, like the MVPs, the playoffs, the All-Star games. The totality of their whole career. Don't just put so much emphasis on the ring. As we stated previously, a lot of players would be the same type of player, if not better, if they stayed healthy or had a better team. So you have to look at it from that perspective as well. But I basically very much appreciate y'all ideas regarding this topic. Any final thoughts regarding this hot topic, Flo?
Yes, I want to add one thing to it.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, two things. You guys actually mentioned players that were that left their current team to their new team, which was Charles Barkley being traded to Houston. And also, remember, he got traded to Phoenix.
Hmm.
And also, you mentioned Paul Gasol trade. But keep in mind, those were trades. LeBron left as a free agent. Those players didn't ask to leave. They were traded. They didn't actually. That's the biggest difference. That's why I said LeBron started this trend. He was able to walk on his own free will as a free agent. He controlled his own destiny. He made that choice to go play ball with his banana buddy friend, Dwayne Wade. Charles Barkley, like you guys mentioned, and Paul Gasol did not ask to be traded from their respective teams. Keep that in mind. That's one issue.
Hmm.
Number two, I pose this question to both of you guys. If, let's say the Detroit Pistons at the time, and let me see if I can get the correct year. And I apologize. I want to see if I can get the correct year. Just give me 1 second.
Okay, no problem.
And I apologize. I'm going to pose this question to you guys. If I can get I just want to make sure I have the proper spelling of this player's name real quick.
That's fine.
In 2000 and let me get the year. 2003 NBA draft.
Hmm.
The second overall pick was Darko Milicic by the Detroit Pistons. Let's say the Detroit Pistons do not draft Darko Milicic. Let's say they drafted Carmelo Anthony. Would the Pistons have a dynasty? That's the question I pose to both of you gentlemen.
It's tough to say. So there's so many changes happened, and Larry Brown left, and you don't know how well he would have played within that system because that team was such a unselfish team type of thing. There's like no one player really dominated that offense in that respect, so I think that kind of helped them out. There's like a lot of players you didn't know exactly who was gonna really go off with that team. They played very good defense too. And I don't know how well Melo would have played with that because they had Tajon Prince. I don't know how well he would have fit in that teamwork system. So it's hard to say right off the bat. Talent-wise, you would think they would still play better on some respect, but I think they will also lose some parts of it. I think they definitely should have won a second one though, and that might have helped them in that respect. But it's hard to say looking back at it now. But they definitely should have signed him over Marco at that time, Milicic. Darko, I mean. How about you, Danny D? What you say about that?
Yeah, the same thing, and then you don't know how the group dynamics would fit because when he got drafted, Carmelo was getting busy, so I don't know, and the ball really went through his hand, so I don't know how it would have fit in Detroit with Chauncey and Rip holding the ball like that. So I wouldn't know how you fit into that system, and I don't even know if he would even start it.
Right. This is something to think about though. But that definitely set them back afterwards too. That's why when you miss out on them early picks, especially lottery picks, it can definitely hurt his team for years to come. I always say that. That's a hard thing to come back from. You gotta hit a home run with those early picks, man. Because just think about the Knicks right now. If they didn't have Porzingis, if that would have been a bust of a pick, they would not be in the same situation they are in right now. You gotta hit home runs with those early lottery picks. You got to. But let me think. Regarding that topic, anything else you wanted to say about that hot topic, Danny D?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. I think we all hit everything for that topic. I appreciate y'all discussing that. Hopefully the listeners enjoy that as well. And basically, excuse me. Any final thoughts or closing remarks, Danny D, regarding the show? Because I think this is pretty much the last segment.
I'm just gonna say thank you to all the fans and subscribers out there, man. Just keep listening. Give me the like on iTunes and Facebook, man. Go looking out.
Definitely. Always appreciate fans. Always appreciate the listeners. Without you, there is no us. How about you, Flo? Anything else you would like to add? Any closing remarks regarding the show? Any of the topics? Anything that nature? Anything else you want to add?
I want to add the third team that might be interested in Brandon Knight is actually the New Orleans Pelicans. They're thinking about having another guard come off the bench. So that was the third team, and I apologize for not having that information. But that was the third team, the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, okay.
They were interested in also in Brandon Knight. That's the third team.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything else you would like to add, Flo?
No, this is another great show, a lot of great topics, another great episode. Again, a great podcast. We have the best listeners in the world. We have the best fans in the world. You know, another great podcast. And, you know, we appreciate the love and the support from all the listeners out there. Please continue to subscribe, you know, on iTunes and also on Stitcher.com and also on Spreaker.com. Continue to subscribe and download for this podcast. We appreciate the love and support. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you, definitely. And me just sign off, you know. As always, I'd like to thank my co-hosts. Definitely made the show interesting and definitely made the show easier for me. I really appreciate y'all being part of it. Definitely appreciate our loyal listeners, as always. We definitely trying to bring the best show we can. We appreciate y'all. Keep subscribing, keep downloading, keep letting other people know about it. We'll keep trying to get better as we go along. We're trying to do our best. Just keep bearing with us. Keep going along with the journey with us. All right, people? Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Wish you all the best. Y'all have a good one. See ya.